COVID-19, commonly known as the coronavirus, has taken the world by storm over the last several months. The 24-hour news cycle has provided near constant coverage of the outbreak, along with the subsequent double percentage drop in the S&P 500 stock market index, largely driven by uncertainty, lowered sales projections, and possibly consumer spending drops. Let's take a look at the impact the coronavirus is having on the global supply chain. Factory shutdowns in China. Many manufacturing facilities are still shut down in China, following the standard 3 to 4 week break associated with Chinese New Year. Fearing increased spread of the virus, most factories in China have prolonged their break to limit exposure to the virus. This disruption in manufacturing has put pressure on inventory levels for many global companies that rely on components built in China, either directly or indirectly. Shipping cancellations and travel bans. Many ocean and air carriers are reducing the number of transits they are offering due to a huge dip in demand, spurred by the lack of manufacturing in China. Even beyond the Trans-Pacific lanes, ocean and air carriers have steeply reduced their offerings to save cost to offset the reduced revenue from the lowered demand in both passenger and freight transportation. A secondary effect of reduced sailings by ocean carriers is the lack of containers available for exports and products produced in the United States. This complicates the situation and creates more pressure on the ocean carriers to resume normal operations. Decreased consumer spending. While this is a less clear problem for supply chains, decreased consumer spending during the outbreak has created a financial issue for tourists, consumer goods, and travel companies. For example, consumer spending on goods dropped around 80% in China over the last month. For many companies, this drop in revenue is resulting in closures, as companies are not able to afford their fixed costs while experiencing such a large drop in revenue. This is one of the key reasons that the stock market has taken such a huge hit. Coronavirus spurred purchasing. There has been a sharp increase in purchasing of certain items that could be used to prepare for the rise and the outbreak of the virus in the US. This includes soaps, bleach, face masks, and non-perishable food items. This spike in purchasing for these types of items has created a short-term shortage, particularly of face masks, as supply chains and inventories were not expecting the rise in demand. Overall, it is impossible to predict what the outcome of the coronavirus outbreak will be. It is very likely that the virus will continue to spread in the United States and around the world. But as this happens, it is also very likely that the mortality rate will drop as the total number of infected rises. The global supply chain is incredibly interconnected, and the less obvious secondary and tertiary effects will create currently unforeseen issues for many companies. Our recommendation is to take a measured response and not make any large changes at this time to your supply chain. Due to the volatility and unpredictable nature of the situation, making any large supply chain changes will likely create more issues than it would fix. China is under immense pressure to resume manufacturing. Freight carriers want operations to resume as standard, so if you have freight that is being routed from China, maintain communication with your logistics and supplier partners and try to be patient over the next several weeks. Check back in for updates on the coronavirus's supply chain impact. More videos will be coming very soon from Zmodal.